Good morning, everyone. In last session, we have studied what is access control. We'll revise it quickly and we'll go ahead for intrusion detection system. So, access control means we are having a different rights on different data item, and different user can also have different right on the same data item. So, we need to control the access of the user while they are using any particular resource of the database. It can be a relation, it can be a database, or it can be a some of the tuples of that particular relation. SQL will support these two commands, grant and revoke. Grant and revoke, you can identify the syntax here. In many of the database, like in Oracle, 10G, or in many other versions, these commands are working. But right now within in Apex Oracle, grant and revoke, these two commands are not working. They are not supported for that Apex Oracle. So you can just go through this syntax, grant privilege on, this is the object, like which relation or which database, the name, to user. Suppose there are multiple users who can access, so you need to specify which user can access this. And revoke means revoke privilege on particular table from a particular user. If you are in place of user, if you write everyone, so it is a public and it is visible to everyone who is authenticated user for that particular system. Then we have seen what is a discretionary access control, like it refers person to person, like this is the owner, it can identify these three users are able to access this particular database table. So these are the specified users or a group of person who can access this object. Second one which we have seen is mandatory access control. Mandatory means it is a all or nothing method. A user has or does not have a certain privileges. And here we have seen that there are four types of component: subject, object, clearance, and security. After that, we have seen that what is a secret, top secret, confidentiality, and unclassified. We have taken this example and we have gone for the rules, Bell LaPadula rule. So in this rule, there are three major properties. The simple security level, that means no read up. So any of the level cannot read the database or cannot read the objects of the upper level. Star property rule says that no write down. So any of them cannot write anything to the below level. And the strong star property said that you are not able to read or write to any other classification level. So if you are in a secret level, so you cannot read or write top secret, you are not read or write confidential, like that. And we have gone for role based, like whatever your role is assigned and all the rights is given to that particular role. Suppose you are a student, so for student there is a role and there can be multiple functionality which is applicable. But if you are a class representative or monitor of the class, this is a new role, so you are having a different privileges. So according to this role based access control, you can create role and destroy role. So suppose now one of the student from your class is the class representative, and that particular student, I'm creating a role for a class representative, I'm giving some extra access to that particular student. But after 6 months you are in the next semester and suppose your CR changed, so I just need to put down that destroy role, like for that particular student, like in your class, whatever is CR, we can just destroy that role, and for a new person we can again create a role. So that particular new CR can have rights or privileges to access the database. So the grant and revoke command can be used to assign and revoke privileges as well as from individual users. And we have seen the role hierarchy, like if you are at the higher level role, then you are allowed to do at the lower level. And we have taken the example of company, like if you can join as an intern, junior developer, senior developer, project manager, and head of the project. So if you are head of the project department, then you are able to do everything which your intern can do. Like that. So as per the role hierarchy, you can do everything. User, whenever it enters into the system, it will assign with some role and accordingly the rights will be provided. Here also the same thing it will be explained. And the role based and attribute based, these two are very much similar, but the attribute based control, like each and every user is having this kind of attribute, and according to attribute as well as environment attributes, the resource utilization will be done. So this is the attribute based access control. Till this we have completed and we have started what is intrusion detection system. So if you remember, intrusion detection system means here is a intruder, then intrusion, and IDS. IDS means intrusion detection system. How it will work? We can talk about either a system. Suppose this is a system. We can talk about either a system or a network. Suppose this is a network. So in any of this, if any malicious activity has been found, then we can say it is the system is in danger zone now. So intruder means the person who wants to get the unauthorized access either on the system or on the network. So what is the advantage of doing this? If anyone is, suppose intruder means here an attacker. So attacker wants to attack on your system. So whatever secret or confidential or sensitive data which is resides in your computer, they want to hack everything. They want to steal that. They want to take the data out of your system. So with the help of those data, they can do some more activities. And if it is in network, there are multiple nodes, like from this node to this node. There can be multiple nodes in a particular network. Nodes means the system itself, and this person is providing information to this person is providing information to this as well as this, like that. So data packets are going or passing into the network. So intruder wants to take those data packets, and they are using this data packets for their particular use, like what is going on in the network. If any information is useful, then intruder can take all that kind of data packets, and they will pass the data packets with some modification. So the message which is sending from the source to destination, it will be different. So intruder, generally we can say that it is an attacker who wants to attack either on the system or on the network. While they are attacking, this is called intrusion. Intrusion will attack on the system or a network. The process is called intrusion. And we are having one system. We are having one system. This is the system. And here we are having a network. Again, one system here. So we are having one system which will detect this kind of intrusion is going on or not. So if anyone who is outside or insider of the institute or organization who wants to try to get the unauthorized access either in the host means this particular system, or on the network. Okay. Till now we have completed in the last session, and today we are going to start with what is intrusion system and what are the types of intrusion detection system. An intrusion detection system is a system that monitors network traffic for suspicious activity and issues alert when such activity is discovered. Okay. Intrusion detection system is a system we all know because we have just studied. It will monitor the network traffic. Okay, what is a network traffic? Generally, what do you mean by traffic? If it is a road, suppose this is a road, here also road. So what is a traffic? There can be multiple vehicles are there and the road is almost busy. Like everyone wants to go from the same road and we can say that that particular road is having a heavy traffic. Like this, if there are multiple vehicles are there, we can say that it is a traffic. So it's the same way the network traffic means in the network there can be multiple system, like suppose this is a system A, system B, system C. We are having multiple systems and each and every system is giving the information to some other system. Like right now A is a source and this B is a destination. So A is sending some of the information to B. B is sending some of the information to E. E is sending some of the information to C. And C is responding for that information. After that, E is sending to F, likewise. Okay, so there in the network, multiple hosts or multiple system are sending the information or they are passing the data from one system to another system, and this is all done inside a network. Okay, so once this kind of information are going on, how the information will go? You will have a separate subject as computer network CN, where you will study in a particular network how the information will be passed from one person or like a one system to another system. Will not go in that much deep, but it will be in terms of a data packets. Like whatever is the information, it will be going in terms of data packets. You need to just remember this technical term, data packets, and the information is going through that. So entire information will be break out and it will be going through the data packets. There can be multiple way to reach at the from the source A to destination B. This is a simple path, or else you can go to this, like the second way, the third way. There can be multiple paths from the source to destination. If you see, like if you want to go from your home to Crystal Mall, so there can be multiple paths. The similar way in the network also, there are multiple way you can reach from the source to destination. So you can choose any of the path. So what is the role of intrusion detection system here? So IDS is a system that monitors this network traffic. Network traffic means these data packets are continuously passing from one system to another system, and it will monitor that. It is called network traffic. In network, instead of just like in road, we are having vehicles. In network, we are having data packets. So data packets are going from one place to another place, which is one host to another, and they are creating a traffic because there are multiple data packets and multiple systems. So it is called network traffic. So it will monitor the network traffic for suspicious activity. That means whatever is not normal, like the same data packet, the same size, or going from same host to same destination every time. So it will creating a load, just like it will get your server down if the same request is occurred multiple times. This is the system. And here is the user, like 1, 2, 3. So if any one particular user is continuously giving the request, then server will get down. So it be possible. So any of the suspicious activity is found, then it will issues an alert. Like if network has found, network IDS has found that this kind of suspicious activity is going on inside the network, then it will call the administrator, network administrator, and give alerts like check your network again. There is some of the problem that might occur. So it is a software application that scans a network or a system. Here we are talking about both the things. Either it will going for the entire network. So in the network, suppose there are 100 systems are involved, so it will check the entire network. Or IDS can also be installed in a particular system. So it will just check your computer, your PC, your device for harmful activity or policy breaching. The purpose of intrusion detection system in database system is to detect transaction that access data without permission. So if they are the authorized person, we didn't have any of the problem. But if the person is not supposed to access the data and they are trying to do that, only then we are having a problem. Intrusion prevention system also monitors network packets inbound the system to check the malicious activities involved in it and at once sends the warning notification. Okay, we are here talking about intrusion detection. But if we detect that inside this network, the malicious activity is ongoing. So the next step is intrusion prevention system. It is not in our syllabus. This is just for the information. So it also monitors the network packet. So if they found this particular packet is having some of the unwanted thing, then it will check that malicious activity, like what is available inside that particular data packet, what they're trying to do. And they are also sending one time a warning notification. So if it is doing unintentionally by the user side, then they can stop. But if it is using with the criminal intention, then the network administrator can do the further actions. Classification of intrusion detection system. These IDS are classified basically into two types. The first type is network intrusion detection system. Okay, we know that there are two types as we have studied. The first one is network and the second one is it is based on host. Host means the system itself. So the first one, network intrusion detection system. It is also called NIDS. It is a IDS which is based on the network. Network intrusion detection system are set up at a planned point within the network to examine the traffic from all the devices on the network. Okay, what does it mean? Suppose this is a network and there are multiple devices, like one person is using from mobile, one is using the PC, one is using the laptop. So there can be multiple devices, there can be multiple users who are transmitting the data from one place to another place. Like this person want to access the application from the network, then they can send a request to the application server. Server can give the response. One person is chatting with the other one, then they are providing the information, the other person responded, like that. So in the network, the data is always transmitting from one part to the another part. So in this network intrusion detection system, it will set up a planned point. It will set up anywhere. Like suppose here, they will have here a place within the network to examine the traffic. So this point, network intrusion detection system is also a software. So we can install it and we can place it anywhere. From there, they can identify what the activities are going on inside the network. Okay, so it will identify the traffic. It is a network traffic from all the device on the network. Like this person from mobile access this many things. They are sending the information every time. It is not needed like what this person has sent the information. We need to check each and every information. No, it is not like that. It will go in detail if the NIDS has some doubt on a particular data packets. Otherwise, it will just monitor like, and it will note it down like from this source, they are sending the request to this person. They will get the response at this time. What is the next section? This is not just for a one particular node. This can be done for a multiple nodes. Okay. So this is how it will monitor the traffic from all the devices on the network. It performs an observation of passing traffic on the entire subnet and matches the traffic that is passed on the subnets to the collection of the known attacks. So the main task of network intrusion detection system is to monitor. First, it will monitor the network traffic. Then it will observe, do we have any other suspicious activity which can be going on in this network? Then it will analyze. What does it mean? So if they are observing and there are some of the data packets on which the NIDS is having a doubt, so it will analyze those data packets, like what is the problem, and they can identify like how many times the same data packet is going on and all the things regarding that. So it performs an observation, like here after monitor, they will perform an observation of passing traffic on the entire subnet. Okay, subnet is again a new word. It is a technical term in computer network. So you can refer it in the network. We are having a subnet. Subnet means subnetwork. It is not like the entire network. It is just a part of that, and matches the traffic that is passed on the subnet to the collection of the known attacks. That means now suppose this data packet, or these are the data packets, it can be one, it can be more, are having a suspicious activity on the network. So NIDS has a list of attacks till now. Total how many attacks can be possible on the network? Like the first one is DOS attack, DDoS attack. There can be multiple attacks. So here is one list with NIDS till now. Whatever attacks available in the market, all those attacks name along with their pattern. Like when we say that this is a denial of service attack, when we can say this is a distributed denial of service attack, like that. So they are having all the attacks name and then pattern. So it will check at the analysis part, it will check these data packets are from any of these known attack. If yes, if the match is found, then they can declare it as an attack and alerts the network administrator. And if not, then it will again go for the monitoring part, like any other data packets has the suspicious activity or not. Once an attack is identified, suppose we are having a known attack list and we can match that this kind of data packets can do these attacks. So if the attack is identified or any abnormal behavior is observed, then the alert can be sent to the administrator. As we are talking about a network, so the administrator is a network administrator. An example of an NIDS is installing it on the subnet where firewalls are located in order to see if someone is trying to crack the firewall. So if you know, we are having in Windows firewall, which is built in. So what is the task of firewall? As you can suggest it from the name, it is a wall. So when you come inside this wall, and if you are having some of the attacks, like if you want to take something from that system, so firewall has become one wall between attacker and the user or the system owner. So if they want to crack the firewall, then we know that they are a attacker and it will give you an alert. So the similar way here in NIDS, do the same thing. Now we are talking about the second type of intrusion detection system, which is a host intrusion detection system. HIDS run on independent hosts or devices. So individual, this is one laptop or a one computer, this is another computer. So it is working on a particular system. There is a one HIDS for one system and second HIDS for a second system. So in the network, there can be multiple systems. So for an individual or an independent system or a device which is available on the network, this host intrusion detection system will work. It monitors the incoming and outgoing packets from the device only and will alert the administrator if suspicious or malicious activity is detected. Suppose I am using this computer to giving the lecture, Like suppose like right now, if anyone wants to attack on my PC, so it will identify all the incoming and outgoing packets. Like I am on the network right now, we are on Google Meet. So many of the time, like whenever you will ask some questions, whenever I will give you response, whenever I am providing you the lecture right now, so there can be many other data packets which is going from my system to the server and on. So there can be incoming and outgoing packets. So it will just identify the incoming and outgoing packets from the device. Like the device right now is my system, so it will just identify how many data packets are coming and how many of them are going. And if any malicious activities has been found for my system, then it will give me a alert. It takes a snapshot. How it will do that? This is again a technical term, snapshot. You need to remember with the same name. It takes a snapshot of existing system files and compares it with the previous snapshot. Okay. Suppose previously when I start my PC, so it will take a snapshot. Snapshot means it will note down when my system is idle one, it will note down what is the environment variable, like what is my system's MAC address, IP address. It will note down everything. So it will take a snapshot. Snapshot, I'm just saying with the help like if you are doing anything and I am taking your picture, so it will be having all the information. You can use it in the future, like who is doing what, we can do it, we can use it in the multiple ways. So the same way it will take a system snapshot, and after some time again it will take a snapshot and it will compare this two. This is the previous one and this is the existing one. If these two are equal, that means existing is equal to the previous, that means existing system is working well because we know that previous one is the ideal one. But in existing, some of the important informations are changed. So we know that someone is going to try to modify the information inside the computer. So it will based on the snapshots. So if the analytical system files were edited or deleted, we are talking about a system file. Like if you are installing Windows and there can be some of the sensitive information, like you are not able to change it, otherwise your system, your OS will be crashed. So if anyone from the outside can try to change those system files, they can edit it, that means modify it, or they want to delete it and they are successful, then the alert is sent to the administrator for the investigation. An example of HIDS usage can be seen on mission critical machines which are not expected to change their layout. Okay, so we are not installing host intrusion detection system for each and every person. Like I am right now giving a lecture and I want to install it. No, when we can install it, like if it is some of the critical information inside this, like my system will become the server for any of the important application. It can have some sensitive data like a patient's record, and my system is now working as an like any of the well-known hospitals data record or a data server, only then I can install it, because it will continuously detecting or monitoring the malicious activity if it is going on, and it will provide the alert. So the task of intrusion detection system is to just detect that anyone who is insider or outsider of this particular network or a system, they want to try to gain the unauthorized access. So we just need to detect it. Once we detect that there is something going wrong in this system or the network, then we can go with intrusion prevention system. How to prevent our system. Okay. So do anyone have any query till this? Okay. Okay, so I guess we can move ahead towards the next topic. Okay. Okay, and the next topic is SQL injection. Okay, from this figure, can anyone assumes that what the topic is relevant to? Reply here in the chat box. What is your observation? Okay, very good. Parth replied database. Yes, this is a database which is available here. This is a database. Any other observation from anyone? Deep replied security towards it. Okay. Anyone else? Krish, adding the data in the middle of the database or attacking on the database. Perfect. Okay, so now we can move ahead towards the next topic, which is SQL injection. So SQL injection means first we are taking one example and then we'll go with the theory part. So you will understand this topic easily. Suppose here this is a member login, like in any of the websites or in any of the page. If you are going to Google, Facebook, YouTube, or any of them, then there is a member login. So what it will do, suppose at the first time you have created, like once you first time when you have entered into this website, then there is a sign up page, because you are a new user to that particular website. So you have provided your username and password, which you will use in the future to enter into that particular website. Like in Facebook, first time you have created your account, and later on you are using the same email ID and password or the same mobile number and password. So how it will be stored? Like next time whenever a member login, they have entered here a username like abc at the rate gmail.com. It can be anything. Suppose here it is entered at abc as at the rate gmail.com. And they tried and they give you some of the password like 12345, and they want to access the this particular website. Okay, so in the database, when the first time this account has been created, it is stored in the table in any of the database. Like in database, there can be created one of the table of the users where user ID and password, these two fields are stored. So next time when you want to log in into the website, they will give you the username and password field. So you need to enter here and it will verify it with this. But as you can see that it is not matched with any of the user ID and password. So it will give you like you are not the authorized person who can enter into the system. Now suppose in place of username or a user ID, there is demo@gmail.com. I'm just writing demo@gmail.com. Assumes it is a gmail.com. I'm just writing M right now. And the password is 12345. I have entered this password. So when I'm giving this password and this username, then it will check into the database. It will going into the database inside which we are having a table named users, and they will verify like do we have any of the user ID and password combination? Yes. But we know that it is a SQL. Like in the database, we are not going to see it manually and check it manually. So there can be a query which we can call as an SQL query. So for that, suppose this is a query. Select star from users where user ID equals to demo@gmail.com and password equals to 12345. Okay. So according to this query, it will be given to the relation users. This is a users table, and they are able to identify this first row are matched. That's why we can give access to this particular person to enter into the system. So there can be two possibilities. The first one is, suppose the user has entered the demo at gmail.com and 12345, which matches your user's tables tuple, then it will provide true. And suppose as previously user has entered abc at the rate gmail, and here in place of user id it is returned abc at gmail and password which is not available into the database, then it will gives you false. So there can be two possibility. The one is either the is per the SQL query you are getting a true or you are getting a false result. Mm, So why it is called SQL injection? Okay, what the attacker will do, here is one query, like from this query only, it will access the database. So SQL injection, it will modify the SQL query, and injection means it will inject some of the words, some of the characters, and it will modify your entire query such that like it is an unauthorized user, unauthenticated user, then also it will have access of the database. Like the person is not the authenticated for that particular system, as well as the person is not authorized to access a particular relation or a database, then also it will just take this, steal this query, it will modify the query, it will inject some of the words, some of the keywords or characters such that this query, SQL query is get modified, and accordingly the database, the query will be true. Even if the user ID and password is not correct, the query will be true and it has the access to the database. Everyone is clear with the basic idea? What is SQL injection? Yes or no? Okay. Yes, Parth. In SQL injection, like if you are having this login, you want to access the database. So the database table is not accessible to everyone. How the database can verify the data with the help of SQL query, which you can see here. So SQL injection means it will modify your SQL query. It will inject some keywords, some characters such that the query gets modified and it will get an unauthorized access over the database. Clear now, Parth? Okay. So how it will be done? Suppose previously this is our query and this is user ID and password table inside the database. So whatever I have mentioned in the right, what does it mean? We'll see that it just injected and modified the query for user ID only, like demo at gmail.com. Instead of that, what they have done, previously we are having opening bracket and here we are having a closing bracket. So inside that, the injected modified SQL query, here it will completed this bracket. That means this is an empty string, and then return or 1 equals to 1. What does it mean? Either the empty string can be your user ID, which is not correct, or means either this or this. Any one of the condition will be true, then your work will be going on. It will be true for the entire system. So it will provided here the blank entry or 1 equals to 1, which is always true. And after that, there are two hyphen sign or a dash sign. What does it mean? Like whatever is written after this 1 equals to 1, everything will be in the comment, so that I have written it in the lighter color. So it will not be considered. So here the query will be Select star from users, where user ID is either blank or 1 equals to 1. 1 equals to 1 will be always correct, so user ID will be true, and we didn't require the password, so we will get the access towards the system. Okay, it is not given in the reference book like this example, but it is just for your information how the SQL injection attack will be going on. Clear, everyone? Okay, good. So we are going ahead. This is just for your information. This slide is not included in any of the book. SQL injection is one of the most common threats to a database system. SQL injection is the code injection, like you are just going to modify the code and they can destroy your database. So it is a code injection technique that might destroy your database. Web programs and applications that access a database can send commands and data to the database, as well as display the data retrieved from the database through the web browser. Suppose that if you have click on any of the thing, like in the movie, if you are going into Book My Show and you have pressed any of the cinema, like our world cinema, so it will give you the information which is relevant to our world, like total how many shows, how many movies are going on. So they are doing two tasks. Either they are taking the data from user, just like a login, they are taking user ID and password, they can verify with the database, or else they can take the data from the database and they are showing you to the user. SQL injection is one of the most common web hacking technique. It is the placement of malicious code in SQL statement via web page input. So they just go and different query, SQL query is modified and accordingly they will get an unauthorized access. The attacker injects a string input through the application which changes or manipulate the SQL statement to the attacker's advantage. So attacker will get modified to that particular query such that they will have the access to the database, to the system according to their advantage, and they will inject some of the words, characters inside the query. An SQL injection attack can harm the database in various ways, such as unauthorized manipulation of the database or retrieval of the sensitive data. Sometimes they want that the database should be changed. Like if they have the access of the entire database, they can do whatever they want. So either they can have an unauthorized access and the modification, or they want to retrieve the sensitive information which is already existing into the database. It can also be used to execute system level commands that may cause the system to deny service to the application. So sometimes sometimes like they have injected the SQL with some words and they'll have access, so they can get the server down. So only the attacker can have the access on the server, not the authorized rest of the person. So they can have deny service. SQL manipulation. Manipulation means to make a modification. So a manipulation attack, which is the most common type of injection attack, it will changes an SQL command in the application. For example, they can add a condition to where clause, like where 1 equals to 1, so it will give you the entire table. So like that, they can add a condition to the where clause, or by expanding a query with additional query, they can also take union, intersection, or minus. Suppose there are an entire database, we didn't want the entire database, we want only those tuples which is having some of the condition satisfaction. So we are going for where clause. If we are having the union, intersection, and minus, so they are giving a second subquery with, and the first query is already available and they are going to put union, intersect, and minus. So accordingly the result will be available, which is beneficial for the attacker. Code injection. This type of attack attempts to add additional SQL statement. Manipulation means whatever query is available, you are going to modify it. You are going to add some of them. And here in code injection, there are some additional SQL statements or command to existing SQL statement by exploiting a computer bug which is caused by processing invalid data. So SQL statement is already there. You are just going to give their additional SQL statements. The attacker can inject or introduce code into computer programmer to change the course of execution. So the way system will get executed every time they will running, the code will be available and it will not doing the normal behavior. Function call injection. In this kind of attack, a database function or operating system function call is inserted into a vulnerable SQL statement to manipulate the data or make a privileged system code. Function call means they will create one function. You know that what is a function, you have already learned in C language. So they will create a function, or in the operating system, some of the function, they will execute this pre-defined function for the different use. And they will have the data. They can manipulate the data like with the help of the function which is not executed this time, but they have intentionally provided that function call, and accordingly the system will get modified. Like only some of the time user interaction is required in the system. So if sometime the database is going to process, at that time user interaction is not required for a system, but suppose at that time also will provide a function where user can give input and accordingly the database will react. So it will create a problem. For example, it is possible to exploit a function that performs some aspects related to the network communication. Whenever we are providing the data is going to a network channel from one person or one system to another. We can intercept it in between and we can have a function call injection. What is the risk while attacker will attack with SQL injection? Database fingerprint. Attacker can determine the type of database being used in the backend so that he can use database specific attack that correspond to weakness in a particular DBMS. There can be multiple way of using the database. It can be SQL, that means a structured query language. There can be any other way, like the database is having a no any structure, or it can be stored in some of the XML files, some of the Excel sheets. The database can stored in multiple ways. So the attacker will identify the type of database is being used. It is a structure, so it is a table wise, or it is a unstructured. So they will have a fingerprint of the database. So it will be easier for the attacker next time, like how to enter into the system. If one time it will have a look on the database. The next one is denial of service. The attacker can flood the server with request. Attacker is totally giving all the time. Like suppose this is a attacker and this is one system. So attacker will continuously giving the request. Like if you are searching for a movie timings in a particular application multiple times. So attacker will give the same request multiple times to a system and it can flood. Flood means like it will give a heavy traffic to the server with request, thus denying service to a valid user, or the attacker can delete some data. So suppose like in the 1 second or in a 5 seconds of time, there can be hundreds of requests from one particular system or one user. So the server gets down because there are multiple requests coming at the same time. So server gets down. So some genuine authenticate user wants to try to access the system. They also not having the proper access. And attacker, if attacker wants, they can also delete some data because now server is not available for rest of the users. So denial of service means system will deny like service is not provided right now because there can be multiple requests. So it is called denial of service. Bypassing authentication, as we have seen in the example, user ID and passwords are not available with the attacker, then also they are accessing the database. So this is one of the most common risks in which the attacker can gain access to the database as an authorized user and perform all the desired tasks which an authorized person can do. Identifying injectable parameters. In this type of attack, the attacker gathers important information about the type and structure of the backend database of a web application. Suppose this is a Facebook, then it will have access like in the database, how the Facebook is going to store the data. What are the attributes? What are the parameters? So it will identify the information, and this attack is made possible by the fact that the default error page returned by application server is often overly descriptive. So it will identify what are the injectable parameters, what I can enter, so the system's unauthorized access I can get, and how the error page I can display. Executing remote commands. Remote means you are not here, you are at some different geographic location, and over the internet you want to access the things. So this provides attacker with a tool to execute arbitrary commands on the database. Like a remote user can execute stored database procedures and function from a remote SQL interactive interface. So you will study like what is a stored database procedures. Procedures means in this function there can be a return time, but procedure cannot have. So you can just execute it, and whatever the command which is reside in the procedure, they are going to execute. So we are having some of the stored procedures, like we just need to recall their name, and it is by default, it is predefined. So it will just execute the functionalities. So it will execute the remote commands. Performing privilege isolation. This type of attack take advantages of logical flows within the database to upgrade the access level. Like I'm the authorized person to access the faculty rights. But suppose I know that in the system, here are some of the glitch, and this is the flow, like some of the tasks which head of the department can do, like that. So I can identify the logical flow if I am an attacker. Within the database, there are some glitch, there are some of the point which I can use to attack to the higher level, and I can have the access level upgrade. So as a faculty, I am authorized to do 8 functionality, but if I prove that I am head of the department, I can have 12 functionality, for example. So I can upgrade my access level with the help of logical flow available in the database. So it will perform privilege isolation. Okay. So if in exam they ask explain SQL injection, if it is in 7 marks, so you need to write all these things. Like you need to just explain what is SQL manipulation, code injection, and function call injection, and what are the risks. Okay, but if the question will ask in 4 marks, then you can just give the names from here. For risk associated, you can explain what is SQL injection, and this 3 type in 1 or 2 lines. Okay, everyone is clear with this? Everyone is clear with this? Okay, good. Okay, so we have ended today unit number 8. Just going to show you what we have covered in this entire unit. A quick look, and I will take your attendance automatically, so do not worry. We have studied what is security, integrity, authentication, authorization, encryption, access control, intrusion detection system, and SQL injection. Security and integrity, the difference: security means what the person is allowed to do, and here what the things are correct. So in security, the important term is authentication, authorization, and encryption. Here it is backing up, error detection, and error correction. Then what is the database security? Why required? And the three objectives like secrecy, integrity, and availability. What is the difference between authentication and authorization? What is audit log? Like log is already maintained when you trying to do the database access. And what are the benefits of using this log? What is encryption and decryption process? There are two kind of algorithms: symmetric key, that means the same key at the encryption and decryption side, and asymmetric key. There are two different keys, as you can see here. These two are the different keys. What is the difference? These are the term: plain text, encryption, public and private keys, ciphertext, and decryption. Access control, three we have studied: discretionary, grant and revoke syntax, mandatory access control, role based, and how role based is different from attribute based. Then we have studied what is intrusion detection system. There are two types: network intrusion detection system and host intrusion detection system. Then we have started with SQL injection, and what are the different types like SQL manipulation. These are the different technical words: code injection and function call injection, and risk associated with this SQL injection. Okay, wait a minute. I'm taking your attendance now. Okay, so that's all for today. In the next session, we'll start with a new unit. Thank you, all of you. Have a good day.